Happy weekend. Sunny 72 this afternoon, 46 tonight. Sunny 72 tomorrow, 49 tomorrow night. And Sunday, mostly sunny, high 75. Staff meteorologist John Weatherby. Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
We've got lots of sunshine in Phoenix at a temperature of 68 degrees. Dow's up 103 points at 17,425. S&P 500 up 17 at 2010. NASDAQ up 39 at 4610. Reporting from Money Radio, I'm Dawn Nietzsche.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. And we're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park at Money Radio Studios, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM, and it is January 16th, and it is absolutely gorgeous out. We have I don't think there's even a cloud in the sky. The sun is shining, and today's supposed to be 72 degrees. And I will tell you, we are 2 weeks away from a lot of activity happening here. We have a lot of activity happening right now. Driving here to the studio, I passed the car show, Barrett Jackson and Russo and Steele. So we got a lot of people here for that. We've got the Arabian show coming up, and we've got the Pro Bowl. We've got the Phoenix Open, and Tiger Woods has announced his arrival here. And we've got the Super Bowl. And we've got big-time playoff games that are going to be happening on Sunday to determine who those Super Bowl opponents are going to be. So it's an exciting time for us here in Arizona and here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I wanted to just share with our listening audience, I brought with us a long-term care expert, somebody I've admired over the years to share with our listening audience about long-term care, and his specialty is more in the community-based care, and I'm talking about assisted independent living and as well as skilled nursing and really, care in general. And I really look forward to having our guest, and I'm going to just cut right to it and introduce our listening audience to John Scott Williams. And John Scott Williams is the Regional Vice President and Executive Director for Fellowship Square in Mesa, and they are a Christian care community. Welcome to the show.
Well, welcome. Thanks for inviting me, Bob. I appreciate the invitation, and any help I could be, I'm more than willing to participate.
Well, John Scott and I work together with Leading Age Arizona. And Leading Age Arizona is a trade association that is made up of primarily skilled nursing communities as well as assisted living communities that are attached to that, correct? I know you can give us a little bit more about Leading Age.
Leading Age is the not-for-profit community of excellence in senior housing. We include continuing care requirement communities, of which most of those communities include skilled nursing. They have assisted living. They'll usually have memory care with a secure environment and independent living. And because they're a campus of care, a lot of people drive by and they look like resort-style apartments, but they don't really know what goes on there. And our association is made up of any number of providers that are faith-based or not-for-profit, sponsored by some organization, where the intention is to take any of the surplus monies and to plow it back into the community to improve it for the next generation to come.
It's a wonderful organization headed up by Jenny Rose, who has got a great background in long-term care, and Larry Minix oversees it nationally.
Oh yeah, Larry Minix from Washington D.C., himself a long-term care provider from the Methodist organization in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And he and I started in this business about the same time, which was interesting.
What makes it so interesting, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's just that we have a similar yearning to help others out.
Right.
And he came to it in a more professional way than I did. And I came to it as a result of answering a call from our fundamental church, the Christian Churches of Arizona, when we had a struggling nursing center on North 19th Avenue and couldn't pay our bills. And they asked myself and our current CEO to come on the board to see if we could straighten it out. And after about 3 years, we've turned it into, from a struggling enterprise, to the largest system in Arizona and the 29th largest not-for-profit senior communities in the nation.
Wow. I did not know that.
It's an amazing story. And
it dates back to how far ago? Or how long ago?
It started in 1979 by some friends of mine, of which Carl Bimson was one of the founding members, and he's one of the original partners of Valley National Bank. And the First Christian Church in Phoenix, Bill Boyce and a few other people, Belita Wright and Freddie Griffins, came together and said, we need a place for people to be taken care of when they can't take care of themselves. That was the nursing center. And from those pioneers, we were able to turn from a nursing center into a thriving community where people come as a lifestyle choice as opposed to, I need help. And when a senior realizes that they're not giving things up, they're actually taking over their life, and they're not mastered by their house. Their house is a building,
right? And
they turn those monies into services. We'll make breakfast for you. We'll help you get up. We'll make sure you have socialization. We'll make sure your nutrition is good, and we'll make sure you're secure. Those is what allows a person to be free to do what they want to do, as opposed to, I got to make a repair the day I have to work in the yard. Those flowers don't water themselves. So
no, they don't.
And we also work with a lot of people in the community who want to stay in their home for as long as possible, which will help a person stay in their home and senior-proof their house to where it is safe and that they're not actually endangering their own well-being, which a lot of people want to do just because they think the house is where they want to be the rest of their life.
Right, right. And when I introduced you in your capacity of every day, working at Fellowship Square as the executive director and the vice president of the Christian Care Company. But you also have an entity called Senior Transition Guide. And that guide is something that you're talking about in terms of helping guide our aging population with resources and opportunities to find places to live.
Yes. The biggest problem that you have with the senior population is they're in a position that they just don't know what they need.
Right.
They know they need something, but they don't know specifically what. That's why we created the Senior Transition Guide.
We're about coming up on a commercial, and I want to get back to that. But I will say this organization is very progressive because one of the last times I was with you, you guys have an app for that.
Yes, it's a mobile app that you can, iPhone, iPad, Droid. It's very robust. We also have a Windows-based product where you can get an instant answer.
When we come back from our break, we'll talk a little bit more about that. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you, and I've got John Scott Williams in the house, and we're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park, Money Radio, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM.
Money Radio 99.3 FM and 1510 AM is your exclusive home in the Valley for Northern Arizona University Lumberjack basketball. You can catch head coach Jack Murphy and the Lumberjacks as they go for a Big Sky Conference championship. NAU plays host to the Bengals of Idaho State University Saturday afternoon, January 17th in the Sky Dome in Flagstaff. Your pregame coverage starts at 3:30 p.m. right here on Money Radio 99.3 FM, 1510 AM, and the Money Radio app.
Mondays are the most profitable day of the week when you listen to Money Making Mondays with the microcap master, Evan Greenberg, Chief Investment Strategist for the Legend Cap Opportunity Fund. For more info, call Evan at 516-662-0303. That's 516-662-0303. Or email Evan at legendcapfunds.com. And tune in Mondays at 1 p.m. for Money Making Monday.
Attention boomers and retirees. Do you own a high-risk, high-fee variable annuity or an obsolete hybrid income annuity? What you don't know may potentially jeopardize your future or current retirement plans. Call Anil Vazirani and Secured Financial Solutions at 800-957-5604 extension 200 to set up your complimentary strategy session to learn about a possible superior solution. Learn about the concept of the principal protected low-cost new generation annuity and why it's superior in most cases than the high-risk, high-fee variable annuity and the obsolete hybrid income annuity. Call 800-957-5604 extension 200 to set up a strategy session or go online at www.theripa.com. 800-957-5604 extension 200. Call today. Annuities are not suitable for all investors. Benefits based on claims paying ability and Comdex rating score. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Brought to you by Soul Solution. Not sure how to promote your business? Get your free CRI score. CRI stands for Customer Reach Index. Go to CRIscore.com, enter promo code FREE.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. And we're coming at you live from Money Radio Studios right here in the Scottsdale Air Park. And if you missed our first segment, I encourage you to go to our website at cypresshomecare.com. And if you scroll down just about halfway on the right, you're going to see a radio microphone. Click on that, and you'll be able to see and hear today's broadcast. If you missed this first segment, you'll be able to hear the first segment. You'll be able to hear the rest, the other three that follow. So I've got John Scott Williams here in the studio, and John Scott has got an incredible amount of background in long-term care. And not only is he the executive director and vice president for Fellowship Square in Mesa, but he's also got an entity called Senior Transition Guide. And when we went on the break, we were talking about this app. And you've got this app for, mobile devices, whether it be Apple or Droids. And basically that app, as I understand it, is to help seniors, our aging adult population, and their families to locate services and living accommodations.
That's correct. What we have found is most of the what we call an interceptor site. That's a organization that doesn't own bricks and mortar, doesn't have a community that they provide. A lot of organizations will take and advertise, we'll find you the best senior community possible. And what they do is they create a website, and if you go to that website, what they ask you is, where do you live, what's your zip code, and what's your email? And with that information, then they'll send you back a list of like 50 communities. And those 50 communities, you say, oh, good, I got 50 communities. It's like me telling you, oh, there's 50 grocery stores. You still don't know what you need, what the proper nutrition is. So, and there's no sorting. What we have done through Leading Age Arizona, and because of our membership there, we're trying to educate the consumer and provide information. So through a series of questions, when you download the app by going to Senior Transition Guide, it doesn't matter if it's iTunes or the Google Store, it'll come up. And when you download that, you start by answering questions. Most organizations tell you, here's 10 questions to ask. We emphasize, first you have to educate yourself. So tell me about the living accommodations. Do you feel safe? How many times have you fallen? How many times has medication errors occurred? You know, medications actually improve our lives, but it doesn't improve our lives if we forget to take them, refuse to take them, or take 2 or 3 times the dosage.
Exactly.
Which, just because I have errors on medication doesn't mean I can't live in independent living, and I can't have somebody come into my house and remind me when to take the medication. Okay? Time blurs, and the longer you live, today's Monday. It was 2010 yesterday. Now it's 2015. That just happens as you age. So it's not a sign that you're senile. It's only a sign that you may need some help. Well, this app will go through, and depending on how many questions you answer at different levels, it'll sort out and say, you do real well in independent living, which means you could live exactly where you are. You are aging successfully in your environment. But if it says independent living with home health care, you may need to bring somebody in. And if you bring somebody in, then they can do the things that stand out when you answer those questions. So after you answer the questions, the app will take you through and then say, now that you know the level of care that we recommend, you still need to talk to somebody because you may have just had a accident or a hospitalization where you had a hip repaired and you had a fall. That doesn't mean that's long term, just maybe a temporary and needs some temporary help. Well, with the app, we say, do you want to take and find a community in your area that provides the service level we recommend? Yes or no? If you do, then you say yes, and then depending on the zip code or the geographic area that you decide on, because if you're the responsible son or daughter, you might live in New York and mom lives in Arizona, beautiful Arizona here, so then you'd say Arizona and you'd say, well, you put in her zip code. Well, then the communities that are, and you say how many miles, 5, 10, 15, or 50 miles of where she lives. And it'll automatically give you the members of a not-for-profit leading age members in Arizona, which for the most part are outstanding communities.
You know, I went through the questions. Really simple. You guys have, and pardon me for saying, you dumbed it down. So it's really, really simple to just check the questions. I mean, it's not like you're asking for an essay on each one of the questions. I mean, it's multiple choice, and it's real simple. Or you put in a number, and it's really a great device or a great tool for families to use and seniors to use.
And I'm sure whenever you did that, you noticed that the answers, you said, I never thought of that, which now you've educated yourself.
Right.
Now when you've answered those questions, now you go armed. And most people, if you went to the car dealer and said, hey, I want to buy a car, he'd say, what kind? You say, I don't know, I want a big one. Well, this lets you know if it's independent living or if you need skilled care or behavioral. And if you know that, now, why waste your time on places that don't sell what you're looking for?
And it drills it down to meeting your needs, which is perfect. And I want to give our listening audience on how they can get this, because we keep talking about it, but to get to the location, to get the app, you can get it on iTunes, you can get it on Google Store, but you can also go to your computer and go to seniorlivinghomeguide.org, right?
That's correct.
So go to seniorlivinghomeguide.org, or you can call this number, 888-691-0546, and ask for Tanya.
That's correct. And by doing so, the Windows-based that's on everybody's computer, and a lot of our users are still, a lot of our customers are from the greatest generation and the silent generation, and a computer or a laptop is what they use. A lot of them now are going to the mobile devices, but the family and grandchildren of my customers, of the residents in our communities, are using the mobile apps. And the mobile app is very robust. The Windows-based app will answer the questions, give you the recommendation, and give a list of communities. And we remind you, you may want to choose a community. And if you don't, we'll send an email to you, and we'll give you information. If it indicated that you had falls, we'll send you information about fall-proofing your house so that you're educated. We're not so much concerned that you actually move in as you know what your needs are.
You know, this is an incredible device or incredible resource for our community. But I will say this, John Scott, you and I talked about this last week when we were together. Genworth Financial has got this program going right now called The Talk. And The Talk is a program that Rob Lowe and Maria Shriver are putting these pieces together out on the internet and putting commercials together to sit down and talk to your parents or your loved ones about long-term care. And the conversation is something that we in long-term care fully endorse. We want the adult children to be having these conversations, not when they need them right away, but they need to be having those conversations early on.
Very much early on. There's what we find, and that's why we also have an e-book that can be downloaded at the website on life's most challenging conversation. What happens is, I don't really want to admit that my mother and father are getting older, because if I admit that means I'm getting older. And what I think they need, I'm going to need. So there's a lot of denial that goes on. There's a lot of guilt. Life's gone by so fast. Yesterday I was a teenager. I was getting my new car. I went off to college. I came home, got married, and I had my first child. Now I'm a grandfather. And
beautiful grandchildren, by the way.
Well, thank you. I'm very proud of my exceptional grandchildren that live in multiple states, Texas, Arizona, and California.
And we were talking earlier, thanks to Facebook, you can share that and share that with friends and family and colleagues.
And it's something that one of the fastest growing groups of people on Facebook are my residents in my community. The average age of my community is 90.
Wow.
And you think, wow. But when you're 89, 90 is not old. It may be old to us, but it's not old to them. And whenever I talk with my residents and I say, I'm 65. I turned 65 April 6th this year. They say,
you look great.
Well, you see, you're saying you look great. They say, you're a teenager. I remember 30 years ago, I had one guy, 95. He quit smoking 5 cigars and a fifth of whiskey a day 50 years earlier. And I says, wow, well, that means he was 45 at the time.
Right.
He changed his life. And it's very interesting how life goes by. This conversation is not something you can do quickly. It's not something you can just say, Mom and Dad, we have to have this conversation, because Mom and Dad may not be willing. Usually one or the other is, but it's a sign of losing my independence. Seniors have no problem with death. Their biggest problem is giving up their driver's license because it's a symbol of freedom. Now, if I have to give up my driver's license, what else do I have to give up? And that's what their biggest fear is. I'm having to give up. Why do I have to give this up? You're being a little pushy.
It's that independence. And I must tell you, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, this isn't a single conversation. And Rob Lowe and Maria Shriver talk about this. It's a process. On television, they show like one scene where they have that conversation. You need to have this conversation now, and it's a process over time. And educating and learning what their desires are and what they're looking for as it relates to how they're going to successfully age. So with that, I hear music. We're down 2 segments, John Scott. We having fun yet?
I'm having lots of fun.
All right.
I hope the listeners are as well.
Well, I hope our listeners join us for our 3rd segment. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You.
As we reach the bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Security was the topic at today's Oval Office meeting between the President and Britain's Prime Minister. At a joint news conference afterward, President Obama said the U.S. was working hard to stop Iran's nuclear weapons development through diplomacy, and the tightening sanctions, as some lawmakers want, would be premature.
I will veto a bill that comes to my desk. And I will make this argument to the American people as to why I'm doing so.
And David Cameron talked about the challenges he and the President discussed.
And those challenges have boiled down to one word: security. Economic security, the jobs and the living standards of our citizens, and national security, the ability of our peoples to live safely and in peace.
Elon Musk is donating $10 million to keep computers honest. Wired magazine reports the founder of Tesla is giving the money to keep artificial intelligence from going over to the dark side. Well, the Dow is 86 points ahead right now, the S&P up 15. I'm Evan Haining.
If it's time to top off, flush or refill your cooling system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for O'Reilly Universal Pre-Mixed Antifreeze, specially priced at $7.99 a gallon. Protect your engine with O'Reilly Universal Pre-Mixed Antifreeze, $7.99 a gallon at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. If there's a new bathroom in your future, you might want to move up the date to right now. During the Home Depot's Cabinet and Bath Savings To Go event, discover Delta's radial bath faucet in bronze. Beautiful, classic, in stock, and at a special buy of only $69. Right now, the future of your bathroom and your budget is looking brighter than ever. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Price for 4-inch model, U.S. only, while supplies last.
With the holidays behind us, let's keep celebrating by making some wise financial moves. You're tuned into the Playbook right now at Money Radio.
Over the last 30 years, the stock market has gone up an average of 11.1% per year, while the average retail trader has only seen their portfolios increase 3.7% a year. The average person is leaving 2/3 of the money on the table, and the professionals are crushing the market. Learn how to get on the professional side of the trade, the right side of the trade, no matter what the market's doing. Check out Online Trading Academy's The Right Side of the Trade, Tuesdays at 8 a.m. on Money Radio 1510.
Be sure to listen to Money Radio's newest show, Talkin' Money with Steve Netzel of Netzel Financial. Join Steve every Wednesday at noon as he covers a multitude of topics based on true asset class diversification within your portfolio and strategies that help you reach retirement. Talkin' Money focuses on the most important thing, you and your money. So tune in every Wednesday at noon for Talkin' Money on Money Radio 1510 AM, 99.3 FM.
You spent your whole life setting yourself up financially so you can relax and enjoy the rest of your life. And what's the most important thing? Family and your loved ones. And nothing will help a relationship and marriage better than having an intimate relationship with your spouse. If erectile dysfunction or low testosterone is affecting your ability to be intimate, call Summit Male Medical, 480-398-1000, or go to summitmalemedical.com. Let our Arizona licensed doctors and all male medical staff help you with FDA-approved medication to give you blue chip performance. We guarantee to help you, or we won't charge you. Happy wife, happy life. I've yet to find a woman that isn't interested in being romantically involved with her husband. So make it happen. You've taken charge financially. Now do it with your love life. Call 480-398-1000 or go to summitmalemedical.com.
Give your business a boost. Register to attend the 11th Annual Women Entrepreneur Small Business Boot Camp at www.womensbusinessbootcamp.com.
This is Ray Hoffman with Your Money Now. It's no really big rally, but it's definitely not the sell-off that the market was geared for this morning. The Dow did open lower, but then the bears ran out of bullets rather quickly, and now at last check, the Dow's up 101 points, 17,421. The S&P up 16, NASDAQ up 37, with a big rebound in a couple of the most promising makers of immunotherapy drugs for cancer. Kite Pharmaceuticals sold off 17% yesterday. It's back up 12%. Juno Pharmaceuticals down 14% yesterday, back up 8% today. So clearly this January market is not one for the faint of heart. Is industrial production slowing? You might think so if you look at the headline that says it was down slightly last month, but that had mostly to do with the warmer than usual temperatures, which meant the utilities didn't have to generate as much power. If you go inside the number, you'll see manufacturing activity was up for the 4th consecutive month. And that's your money now.
I'm Rocky Moselle with StarRegistry.com. Since we were children, we've been told to reach for the stars. It was great advice. Now it's a great gift. Name a star after someone. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit StarRegistry.com, we will name a star after someone very special to you and send an incredible personalized gift. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit StarRegistry.com for the hottest gift.
Do you want to learn how to steal customer credit card information from major retailers so you can buy anything you want?
Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barracuda's award-winning firewalls prevent hackers from taking your valuable data to the bank. Reclaim your network, like 150,000 other businesses have. To learn more about protecting customer data and your reputation, visit barracuda.com/firewalls.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And I've got John Scott Williams in the house. John Scott Williams is the Executive Director and Vice President of Fellowship Square in Mesa, and he also leads this company called Senior Transition Guide. And we were talking about the conversation, and I want to jump right back into it because it is an evolutionary process. And, you know, I want our listening audience, and we have a robust listening audience with a lot of aging adult parents as well as being aging adults themselves. And these are things that aren't sexy. It's not something you think about every day. You know, you have a beautiful day like we do today, 72 and sunshine. The last thing you're going to be thinking about is long-term care and where am I going to stay? What am I going to do when I get older? And I will tell you, you turned me on when we were together last week to a pamphlet, a booklet, if you would, about life's most challenging conversation. And it goes hand in glove with what I said that Genworth Financial is doing right now. It's about having that conversation.
That's an important conversation, and it's not something you do just once. You don't get a whole list of all the things that mom or dad did wrong, or, hey, Dad, you backed up into the garage again, or they forgot to balance their checkbook. They're not reading the paper. If you notice things, you can't start it with what's happening. What you have to do is ask them, how do you feel? Tell me about, is life now what you expect it to be? And a lot of times in you'll find that couples can get along pretty well. They isolate themselves. The nutrition isn't that good, but as a couple, one of them becomes the caregiver for the other, and that's what they figure life is. Well,
they sometimes hide that from the kids, don't they?
They'll hide it from the kids, and they'll always say things are fine. But if you notice things are different and it's not the way it was, that's when those are the signs that you have to figure out. And if you don't figure it out, you could be in a position that your parents are injured unnecessarily. But by starting the conversation, what did you expect life to be like at this time, Mom or Dad? Usually after one of them passes, that's whenever the conversation moves into full gear. They think they're in pretty good shape together, but neither one understands that men need to be around men, women need to be around women. When men are together, the conversation sharpens their wits. Where you're just around one or another, now you're being polite. When women are together, they naturally talk about everything. When men are together, they talk about everything but different things.
Right.
And that's the advantage of being in these communities. You get socialization. Even if you're quiet, if you go down to the dining room where your meals are prepared for you, if you go down to the dining room and you say nothing, just listening to the people around you is socialization. If you're at home, isolated, watching TV all day, you only have you're starting to talk to the TV characters. When your best friends are the local newscaster, you've got a problem. You really need to be around real adults. A lot of parents want to spend their time with all their grandkids. That's nice. I'm a grandfather, like I said. One of these days I'll be a great-grandfather. But I still need to be around people my own age, because people my own age will keep me in check. I can't tell the same story over and over again around my peers. They will say, "You just said that, Harry. You just said that, Mary." I did? Well, yes, you did. And that helps you think. And the way to have a young brain is to think. You can't rest yourself well. You have to learn. If you're at an age where you think your memory's not as good as it should be, understanding that seniors' cognitive ability doesn't decrease. To learn new things, it takes longer. But to know what I already know, I know that very well. So if I want to increase the elasticity of my brain, I want to learn a language. I want to learn about neural technology. I want to learn about nanotechnology. I want to learn something I don't know and never worked with. At the end of the time learning that, I will have improved my brain. And by improving my brain, I will actually be younger mentally. And so if you can show to the senior, to your parent or your loved one, that there is a better place to age, and you can age successfully, and they're safer, and their life is better, then that's how you do the conversation.
The conversation, and John Scott, you shared with our listening audience the benefits of being a part of a community. And I will tell you, and I think you know this too, that so many of our aging adults are living in isolation. And I've got a physician that I've had on here who is a gerontologist, and he says that some of our aging adults don't even get touched at all during an entire week. And touch is something that is it's a human desire that we crave. To either hold someone's hand, get a hug, embrace, a hand on a shoulder. And the community aspect is such a beneficial piece to that aging successfully in place, because you're around a lot of people, a lot of activity, a lot of good stuff is going on.
Well, the Creator said it is not good that man would be alone. Research says that if you isolate yourself, the depression that comes from that is equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, being an alcoholic. Many number of things come from depression. You relieve that depression whenever you're involved in life. And a lot of the communities have special organizations that they work on. Some of our ladies who can't do a full day's work, they knit. And so they started knitting Band-Aids for third world countries. They knit blankets. They knit little hats for newborns. They're doing things for other people. Whenever you start working and know that there's a legacy, which seniors are interested in, that lifts your mood. It
Absolutely
gives you a purpose. You have to have a reason to live. You have to have a reason and a purpose. And sometimes you think because you're 90, you've lost your purpose. You haven't lost your purpose. You may have lost your focus. You need to refocus on what am I going to do today? Never mind, hey, my grandmother told me the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago or today. And that tree, even though it was a fruit tree that she'd never eat the fruit off of, she dug the hole and watered it, and we put the tree in. And I says, you're never going to benefit. It's not for her. It's for the legacy. And
well, you hit some great points there. John Scott, you have a community where the average age is 90?
That's correct.
What is the oldest person in your community today?
104.
104. And what was the oldest that you've had in your lifetime as a
in my community?
Yep.
106.
106.
And she was a former, she ran the Red Cross in Maricopa County, and the stories she would tell were just believing. She lived in Independent up until the last year of her life. Wrote her check out every month to, instead of Fellowship Square, to Fellowship Village. Bank cash that check.
I absolutely love it. And you know what? I look at our aging adult population. Each one of them is like a good book. With that, I've got to take a break. We're done our third segment. We're having fun here, John Scott.
I'm having fun.
Health Futures. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Phil Green of Phil'sGang.com. The recent volatility in the stock market is exciting because using our own high-tech charting and option tools, we were able to pinpoint and capture in advance for our Phil Gang members the recent 18% key reversal in gold mining stocks after a 30% drop. I personally, along with Donald Cogswell and Bob Renier, invite you to the Volatility Means Opportunity webinar on Saturday, January 24th from 12 to 2 p.m. to share with you using that same knowledge and expertise in charting and options that will now help pinpoint the next powerful key reversal in oil and oil service stocks. And as a bonus, a free 2-week archive, all for just $75. Register today at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264. See you on the charts.
Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM invites you to tune in to the One Show with smart money strategies for you. We take your calls and questions about your financial plans and retirement plans every single day on the Ray Lucia Show. That's Monday through Friday from 8 until 9 a.m. on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Tune in this and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. as Ray is joined by Medeiros Futuro. Visit PreciousTimber.com for more information.
With most businesses, when something goes wrong with computer systems, you call someone to fix it. Team Logic IT has a better way. It's called System Watch, Managed IT Services. System Watch monitors 24/7, performs remote diagnostics, identifies risks, schedules scans for virus and spyware, plus generates reports keeping you up to date. So while you're busy running your business, Team Logic is busy running your computers. For a limited time, get a free system assessment and a 2-week trial of System Watch. Call Team Logic IT, 602-254-5558, or go to tryteamlogic.com.
Brought to you by Soul Solution. Not sure how to promote your business? Get your free CRI score. CRI stands for Customer Reach Index. Go to CRIscore.com, enter promo code FREE.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And we're coming up on our fourth segment, our final segment, and I've got John Scott Williams here. And John Scott is from Fellowship Square. He's the executive director there in Mesa, and he also has this incredible tool that we've been talking about, the Senior Transition Guide. If you've missed the first 3 segments, you can catch them on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Scroll down about halfway, you'll see a radio button on the right-hand side. Click on that, you'll catch the first 3 segments. And you'll catch almost 50 others that we've been broadcasting since January 2014. So, John Scott, you have been an incredible resource of information. And I know that you're a very humble guy, but I want you to just share with our listening audience a little bit about your background, because I look to you as one of the long-term care experts here in our community. You've been doing it a long time. You got an incredible reputation. Please share with us. Are you from Phoenix? Are you a native?
I'm a native of El Centro, California.
El Centro, okay.
That's also where Cher came from.
I did not know that.
And I didn't know her at the time either. So, I started out below sea level. I have a humble story. My parents were migrant workers, so I lived in 13 states by the time I was 3. And then we moved back east to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I know Scranton.
Wilkesboro, Avoca, Frog Hollow, lived on Spring Street.
Right off Interstate 81.
And
probably wasn't there then, but...
Well, my backyard was the Scranton Airport, which is in our neighborhood. And then we moved to New York City, and we lived on Staten Island, Perth Amboy, moved into New Jersey. And I have a history on the East Coast and the West Coast. I was able to get rid of most of my East Coast accent. But growing up in the East kind of prepares you. Out West, we have to talk about the cattle, we got to talk about the dog, we got to talk about the grass, and life is laid back a little more, and then we talk about business. And with my understanding of America and living in California as a young teenager, I moved to Arizona when I was 12, and been here ever since. I would never live anyplace else. I was able to have my first achievement. I became an Eagle Scout with Theodore Roosevelt Council, and I spent the first formative years of my life from the 13 till I was 19 at Camp Geronimo, where I learned all the things you need to do to run a small community. We had our own water system, fire department, library, a kitchen, dining room. I went into the restaurant business when I was 21. Was in that business for 20 years. So I'm one of the few executive directors that knows how to do everything. And sometimes it gets me in trouble because I start doing everything. But whenever you have a good crew, you have a good community, and our residents benefit from all of that knowledge.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've been in long-term care for quite a while. You've seen a lot, and you know the dynamic shift that we're going through. And we, by 2050, will have more people in our country that are going to be 65 and older than 18 and younger. And we know that there's a shortage of caregivers. We know that there's not enough rooms in the communities that are out there. So aging in place is going to be one of the resources that are out there. And as you know, Cypress Home Care is one of the employer-based agencies here in our community that serve this community to be able to afford those people that can stay at home to be able to stay at home.
That's correct. It's a valuable service. It gives you the support that you need, and knowing what you need is very beneficial because you can get too much care. Just like you can get too little care. Too much care allows a person to become dependent. Too little care, and they're abused. Knowing what care is appropriate. And I know that in every business has their stars. You're one of the stars in home health care. I've always admired Cypress, how your ads are. If I was younger and I saw one of your ads looking for the services you provide, I'd say, I want to be in that business. I want to be in that business to help people. And it allows people to age in place. And aging in place is what everybody wants to do.
Right.
Sometimes we get tied into a specific place. But as I talked to my own mother whenever she was eating white bread, rice with milk. I says, Mom, if I was doing that, would you say that's a good, nutritious meal? She says, no, but that's all I'm hungry for. I says, Mom, living alone right now, you're in solitary confinement. Why don't you come down to where I work, and we'll get you an apartment there. So we had a nice conversation that way. And ultimately...
I'm sure that wasn't one conversation either.
No, that took about 4 years because... it's not people do not want to be told what to do, and if you approach it from the attitude of empathy, knowing that whenever I get to that age, like my kids say, they're going to put me in duct tape, and don't believe him when he says he used to be an executive director. He tells that to everybody, and they already decided who's going to care for me. And and it's nice to have that conversation over a lifetime, as opposed to don't bring it up, Dad will get mad. Everybody wants to be in a place that's appropriate for their care level.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things we said at the break is just having somebody help another human being, especially an aging adult, that connection that happens. It's really, it's a marvelous thing. I mean, most of the time we have our aging population that is resisting any help, But if you can get them to open that door and let somebody in just to give them a little assistance, that little assistance becomes a little bit more assistance, becomes a lot more assistance, and it's more of a friendship. It's a companionship. And it's amazing because the care recipient a lot of the times, cares equally as much about the caregiver as the caregiver does for them, if not more.
It becomes familiar. It becomes like a family relationship. I have to tell my housekeepers, look, I know they want you to sit down and have a glass of tea with them, a cup of tea, but you still got to clean the apartment. So you have to learn to have brief but intimate conversations because you still have a job to do. Otherwise, their apartment at some point in time may not be at the level that it should be properly cared for. But it is a wonderful situation whenever you sit down, and it doesn't matter who you are. When you show a genuine interest in another person, it's reciprocal. And a lot of people think, well, that's what your family should do. 30% of my population never had children. 30% of my population.
Wow, 30%.
30. People don't understand that. 30% of the children are elsewhere. 2 of my 3 children, one's in Texas, one's in California. I have one that's close by, and I'm able to work with her every day. But most people aren't fortunate that way. 30% of the people are estranged from their family just because of divorce and things like that, and they have multiple families, and it's blended. And then 30% are the Waltons.
That blows me away. And it really does. And we talked about at the break how you see families that are intimately involved with their loved ones, and they come by frequently, and then you see some families that just drop them off.
The advantage of a place like Cypress and a place like Fellowship Square and the leading age communities is we sell hospitality with dignity. And with that hospitality, it doesn't matter what your background is, today's a new day, and we're here to serve. And by providing service, we're able to provide hospitality with dignity. Whenever I'm given the tours and I walk people around, that empathy I was talking about is really dignity. Allow a person to make their own decisions. And they usually make a good decision when you allow it.
I love it. And, you said something else at the break that I want to share. And we're right here in Scottsdale. And there are a lot of long-term care communities here. And you had a saying, because you offer value over at Fellowship Square Mesa. So please share with our listening audience what you said.
What I tell my friends is, shop in Scottsdale, live in Mesa. Shop in Scottsdale, sleep in Mesa. And they make fun of my location so close to Superstition Mountain. I say I don't live in the East Valley. I live where God kisses the valley good morning. And I say you live in the Central Valley.
Well, if you need to reach John Scott Williams, you can find him at Fellowship Square in Mesa, 480-861 0340.
I answered the phone.
Our show's over.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, John Scott.
I appreciate being here.
You've been listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Retire and stay retired. Safe, smart, and secure. Call Secured Financial Solutions at 800-957-5604, extension 200, to get your complimentary guide to maximizing Social Security options and understanding Medicare benefits. 800-957-5604, extension 200, and on the web at www.theripa.com. Listen to On the Money with Anil Vanzarani and Secured Financial Solutions every Tuesday at 1 p.m. and Thursdays at noon.
Money Radio 1510
and 99.3 FM.
KFNN Mesa Phoenix and K257 CD Phoenix. With money, it sometimes comes down to just spending it wisely. Our daily experts help you do just that here on Money Radio. The Dow's currently up 115 points to 17,436. S&P's up 17 to 2009, and the Nasdaq's up 39 to 4610 right now.
Just ahead, Money Radio brings you the latest news, business news, Arizona business news, the weather and traffic. And it all starts